Good afternoon. I'm Susan Grissom with Grissom Law Firm. We're a small law firm in Johns Creek, Georgia, and I'm authorized to practice law in the state of Georgia. We're focused in estate planning, probate, uncontested probate, and small business law. Today, I want to talk about what it means to fund a trust. You may hear that occasionally, and we drill those terms into our clients regularly. If you've taken the time to put a trust in place so that your family can avoid the time and the process that's required by going through a probate process, you want to be sure that you've actually addressed all of your assets to make sure they, in fact, do avoid the probate process. And that's what funding your trust is. What does that mean really, though? That means if you have real estate, you need to have that real estate retitled into your trust's name. We work with our clients to retitle their Georgia real estate, and then we contract with attorneys in other states to have every piece of real estate they own retitled into their trust. This is very important. One of the benefits of having a trust is avoidance of probate in your state and perhaps multiple states if you have real estate elsewhere. And so taking the time and spending the money that's necessary to retitle the assets is a necessary step of funding your trust. Additionally, this means revisiting every financial account that we've got to ensure that it's either owned by your revocable trust or irrevocable trust, to make sure that if it's not owned by the trust, that it's either payable on death to the trust or payable on death to some beneficiary who's living at your death. We recommend, in most instances, making the trust either the owner or the beneficiary, because inside of your trust you will have named the beneficiaries that you wish to have receive those assets on your death. So the only time that we would go outside of that would be if we were choosing to name others because we wanted this asset to flow differently, or perhaps for retirement assets because there are some tax differences in the treatment when a trust is named as the beneficiary and when an individual is named as a beneficiary. The other things that you'll need to do if you're funding a trust, if you own a small business, you need to assign that interest to your trust unless you have some sort of an agreement with partners where you've already provided for the transition and transfer upon your death that would avoid a probate of that business asset. You'll also want to revisit things like savings bonds. It would be awful to have done everything and then open up your safe or safe deposit box and find a stack of savings bonds that just have your name on them that force someone to go through the probate process. You can have these reissued by going to the Treasury, or you can have them reissued into your trust name. You could turn them into a brokerage and actually hold them in your Treasury Direct account so that you can name beneficiaries on them. Treasury Direct can also allow you to name your trust as an owner of the savings bonds, but revisiting all of these sort of accounts. The last thing that you'll want to do is to actually see that you don't have any actual stock certificates that you've received through time. Occasionally we have clients who have stock certificates that they've kept. We recommend going ahead and turning those into a brokerage account of some sort so that you don't have paper stock that's found at a later date. But if you choose to maintain the paper stock, going through the process of having those reissued in your trust's name so that they can flow outside the probate process just as you had intended. It would be awful to have done all the work to put that trust in place and then fail to actually put some of the assets in. In Georgia, we don't typically recommend putting vehicles inside the trust because there are other ways of having those retitled after death. But outside of that, we want to look at all of the financial accounts, any real estate that you've got, and make sure that all of those assets are either owned by your trust, payable to your trust, or payable to someone who's living when you pass. We're always here to help. If you're in Georgia and we can assist you in your estate plan, give us a call.